Can I make a Renaissance Fair costume from a photo? Let's find out. When we were planning our fall trip, we found out about the Ohio Renaissance Fair, and I really wanted to go, and I wanted to wear an outfit. It worked out that the weekend that we were going to be able to attend was Viking weekend, and I wanted not necessarily an authentic Viking costume, but a fantasy warrior costume to be able to wear to this activity. The image on the screen is a recording of the image that I found that I wanted to use as the base for my costume. I don't have a pattern. I'm kind of winging this and going to see how it works out. I made the apron first. It was probably the easiest piece as it was simply rectangular panels trimmed in yellow and top stitched for a little decoration. Working with faux fur was a new experience. Cutting the material from the back makes this process much easier, and essentially we cut out a crescent shape that we'll embellish later. I was really super pleased with how the bracers turned out. Essentially they are still just the embossed pleather that I've been using, lined with a little bit of felt, just to kind of give it a nice finished edge look. I am using Velcro just for simplicity's sake to be able to put this together. And so the bracers overlay here with the Velcro. I didn't have to use any kind of elastic or anything to make it fit to my arm, and I'm real pleased with the way those actually turned out. I found a maxi skirt on sale for like $5, and I adapted that to use as the hip wrap because it was cheaper than buying material. The next piece that I made was the chest armor. I was quite intimidated by it, but it turned out, I think it turned out really, really well. I was super pleased with the way it did. Now, for this piece, I did not cut any paper pattern pieces. I used measuring devices, just kind of measure the size of the way that I wanted it, and a whole lot of looking in the mirror to check where I wanted pleats and things like that. Sometimes when you're sewing, it just doesn't work out. And I had a plan in mind. Like I said, I'm working off of a photo, and I had a plan in mind of what I wanted it to look like. And I got excited, and I went down a path, and I got it, and I'm like, no, so we're not going to use that belt and that bodice. We're going to do something else. The initial material for the belt itself was cut at 3 inches, and then I simply folded over the edges to make the seam and then added the fabric on the back as a reinforcer. The final length ended up being 170 inches. I kind of tapered off the material down to a point for the last 2 feet of it so that it would hang through the belt, and I cut strips as I needed to from the leatherette to make the length work out the way that I wanted it to. I haven't actually tried the pauldrons on with the outfit to see how I liked these. I took a lot of time trying to figure out what to do with these, and ultimately this probably, at this point, I'm not finished with the costume, but at this point this ended up being the most difficult piece to do, to figure out what to do. So let's see how this looks. All right, so that fits on the shoulders. Come around the front, crisscross, and then these other pieces stick to the Velcro here. So let's go look in the mirror and see what we think. I'm a lot happier with this than I thought I was going to be when I finished making it the other day. I finished it and kind of had to put it down and walk away from it and give it a couple of days to to process. But I actually am pretty pleased with these. I like the overall look. You can see it has the ring in the back that crisscrosses over the back of the armor. Though it sits fairly well. I think with a little bit of adjustment, I'm really gonna like that. So let's go adjust that, and let's figure out what I'm going to do about the boots. I am going to use some plastic wrap and attempt to make a pattern of the shoes that I'm planning on wearing to this Renaissance Fair. I've transferred the pattern from the plastic wrap to paper with making some adjustments at the top to give myself some extra material. I'm going to add seam allowances in as well. I'd rather have them too big than too small. You can always make them smaller, but if you cut them small, it's really hard to make them any bigger. So again, I've never done this before, so I'm really hoping this is going to work out okay. Kind of secure all of that together, and again, this will just sit over this piece and hopefully keep it all together. I wanted to maintain a little bit of flexibility around the ankle for walking. Okay, let's go put it on and see how it looks. I really loved how it turned out. It looked enough like my original photo with my own personal adaptations, and it was so much fun to wear. A successful project. Now it's off to the fair.